Hey everyone, I am Esther Bettis and I am going to apologize for my non-aesthetically pleasing background. I have so much to tell y'all about, but I won't do it in this video. So keep watching the next couple videos and you'll see where I'm working from. But for now, I did want to let you all know about my experience at RIU Latino. I've gotten a lot of questions about it, so I'll have Q&A at the end, and for right now, we'll just go through this video and show you all about the resort and just hear my experience there and what I thought of it. If you do not like the ad libs and me giving you my experience, you can get a full tour of the hotel itself on my page. I'll try to put a link in the description. That video is just the same as this, except with just some cool music where you get to just see the whole resort itself. I really think I captured it beautifully. It was such a wonderful resort. So let's get started. So RIU Latino, it was on Southwest Vacations and it was about 1,300 per person, all inclusive. So that's flight, stay, food, drinks, and the drinks means like alcoholic drinks as well. All included for that 1,300 price. I think that's a really good deal. I think that is such a good deal per person. And this resort, like I said, it was really pretty. So I'm like really surprised that it was for such a cheap price point. Now, once again, I got that from Southwest Vacations. If you just type in like Southwest Vacations on Google, it should take you to like the page. Click on that. You put in your date range, you put in your destination. For this, it was Cancun, Mexico. And I think I had a couple of different options that I wanted to go to, and this one just looked the best for the amount of time I was going to be there. And like I said, the price point was really nice. So overall, the hotel was great. I think every time I was out and about, I saw people cleaning. I saw constantly like just like the staff being really helpful, and so I would definitely go back for sure. The landscape was beautiful, the hotel was wonderful, and it had so many different activities. In this little lobby area on our first night in, there was like a party and it was like really cool. People were dressed in like all white. And it was just a really great time to see that they were like, really engaging all of the guests, and there was so much for them to do. Although like I didn't plan this trip thinking like it's gonna be a party, we're gonna have a lit time. I went more so for relaxation. I think you're able to do both things at this resort. Definitely have the party aspect, definitely have like the relaxation. And so you can get it all at this resort. The front desk was super nice. For those who are wondering, like maybe you're going to Mexico and you don't speak Spanish, the front desk all knew English. I don't know if they knew any other languages, but I know they were speaking English and Spanish. And so that's something to just make a note of if you're someone that is going over there. I think English might be like their second predominant language there. So I would say if you know English, you should be fine. Don't have any concerns with that. Like I said, they do speak English. The restaurants. So I think when you go to an all-inclusive resort, you need to just have in your mind that you're getting food made like in bulk, and that maybe those food items aren't going to be like exactly what you imagine them to be at home. We went to like the Italian restaurant, and I think I would compare it to like an Olive Garden. I wouldn't compare it to like a fancy, mafia family owned Italian spot. I would say like their Italian spot was like an Olive Garden. So if you are okay with that, then you should be fine. We didn't check out the Asian food spot because it was quite a bit of noodles and I'm not a noodle person. But I did spend a lot of time here at that food buffet, and they had so many items at the food buffet. We went to get breakfast, lunch, and dinner there a couple of times, and it was just a lot of options. They had burgers, they had tacos, they had fried plantains, they had ice cream, they had omelets, they had shredded chicken. It was like all kinds of options. And I will say things were labeled really well in the resort dining hall. So if you're someone who might be vegan or vegetarian and you're really looking for those items to be like properly outlined, definitely know that the food buffet area is, I would say, pretty good. Once again, though, I'm not vegetarian or vegan, but as someone who just was at the resort, I noticed there was a lot of good like labeling And they'll ask if you have allergies if you're going to like a sit down restaurant and not just a buffet. So something to make note of in case you are someone that, you know, has preferences or allergies. And so moving on into the next food place. Well, in this video, I mean, you can see how big the buffet is. It does take up like a majority of like that wall at the resort, but when you turn the corner, you're gonna have more seating options. So if you don't want to just sit inside of the buffet, you can sit outside. It's nice for when you're getting out of the beach and you don't want to go into like the cold dining hall and you want to just sit outside. That's how we used it. And then further down is the steak place, and we did eat there. I got a burger. Let's see, what do I compare the steak place to? I would say it is lower tier than a place like maybe like Texas Roadhouse, okay? Um, Once again, like, you know, you don't expect to get like, I don't know, in Columbus, Ohio, we have like Jeff Ruby's, and that's like a really big, nice steakhouse, or like Ruth's Chris. You're not gonna get that at an all-inclusive resort. I don't care which one you go to, you're not gonna get that. So just think like lower tier items for food. If you're a foodie, I don't know if I would recommend going to any all-inclusive resort just because the food is produced so much in bulk. And yeah, so just take that into consideration. There was Pepe's food by the pool. It was more so like a food buffet and I didn't really enjoy it. I would much rather prefer to go to the food hall for lunch. And then you have these huge slides. That was the most fun part. That was the most fun part for me. I felt like a little kid in that area. The slides were so much fun. It's all adult or all inclusive for adults only, so it was really cool to see other adults acting like little kids on those slides. There was like 3 or 4 pools, there was swim up bars, there were those little, like, you know, lounging chairs in the pool, like, it was just a really, really fun time. This was my first time going to an adult-only resort, and I absolutely loved it. I can see myself going to only adult inclusive resorts moving forward. There's just something about, like, just seeing other adults having a good time and not, I don't know, having to worry about, like, younger kids being around. It also, I think it makes just such a difference for, like, the environment of, like, drinking and stuff too, because it seemed like every single swim bar was, like, just, like, fully lit, like, no one had to worry about, like, their kids and stuff. So, yeah, take that into consideration. If you're someone that wants to travel without kids, I think an adult-only resort is a lot of fun. Now if you're someone that has kids, obviously you won't be able to go to this resort, but there are so many other resorts that are fun and kid oriented that have like those activities for kids. So check those out. Now, this resort has all of those pools. They were a lot of fun. They looked very clean. There was also like yoga outside. Like I said, there was so many activities to do. It's not solely like, you know, a party central. You could literally just like go to a workout class, go to Zumba. I think I saw one day they had that. There's also volleyball in one of the pools if you like that. It was a good amount of activities. Every day just seemed like a lot of adult fun, and it was cool. Absolutely beautiful landscape. That is just a given. I think with this resort, it was just really pretty, really well designed. I think this day in particular, it was a little more windy and a little more cloudy. Definitely check when you're going what the weather is going to be like. Unfortunately, usually you can't like plan out too far in advance if you use like the weather app, but you can look up like the season online, like maybe when their monsoon season is, maybe when they have higher winds. I went in March and I thought it was still a beautiful time. I would go back again in March, even though there was high winds. I think it, I think that like nice breeze actually did really well with the sun being so hot and it being like 80s out. So you had this little amphitheater area. I don't know if I said that right, but it's a theater area, and they had the karaoke. There's a bar. There's like 2 bars in that area. It was so much fun. When we went, me and my friend were like gonna go sing on stage. We were like, yeah, we'll do karaoke. And as soon as we walked in, there was a girl on the stage, literally like with the most talent, probably that I've seen, like, live. She was singing so well, so obviously we got discouraged. We're like, "I thought this karaoke was, like, for amateurs." But definitely they have karaoke. On that same stage, they have, like, flamenco dancers sometimes or, like, trivia night, and, oh, yeah, make a note that they also have, like, trivia and games at the pool. I'm telling you, they have so many different events and activities, and what I really appreciated about this resort was right off of the corner of that lobby area, there was a board that showed you what all was happening, so you never have to just, like, kinda wander throughout the resort. You can go right to that board and scroll on the screen and see what all activities they're having and what time they're gonna be at and where they'll be at. So, really great way to just keep people involved and keep them doing things while on vacation. Coming up here, you're gonna see, like, people working out. If you can look through that mirror, you can or through the window, you can see, like, that workout ball. The fitness area was smaller, and I think it's, like, standard size, though. I would say in comparison to other hotel gyms I've been to, aside from the Hilton's gym that I went to in Orlando was super big, but this gym, was, like, standard size, I would say. It had a rack of dumbbells, it had, like, 3 treadmills, it had, like, an all-over body machine, and so, yeah, this is the sports bar that's right across from the gym. We didn't spend a lot of time in there, but in that room, they have, like, pool and I think, like, maybe, like, some other game as well. I think a foosball table, so you can check those areas out. I obviously didn't because I think I spent most of my time at the gym or at, like, the main hotel lobby bar. So here I'm just gonna take you into where, like, the spa is. There's a spa and the gym. We didn't get any spa services done. They were pretty booked, so if you do wanna do spa stuff, get your name on that list ASAP. The gym, it was, yeah, small, standard size. I didn't wanna record too much because I didn't wanna get people working out. I know I hate when people record when I'm working out. So, it was really nice in there. I will say it gets packed up fairly quick in the morning. If you're someone that works out around, like, 9 a.m., 10 a.m.-ish, the gym is gonna be packed. So, just make note of that if that's around the time you work out. I wish I knew what time I was recording this because that gym actually looked really nice and empty, and typically I never got it that empty. So that is overall the resort, all of the things in it. My experience went really well. I I think like the amount of activities they had were so great. So one of the questions that I did see a lot was like, did you feel safe at the resort? And I just want to give like a backstory first before I answer that because I think safety itself is very like subjective to whoever you're asking, right? So I'm Mexican, I speak Spanish, I understand Spanish, I can read Spanish, and I also speak English, I read English. And my family, we'd go to Mexico like once a year growing up, and we wouldn't even go to like the nice, fancy, touristy areas. We would go like right across the border to visit family. So definitely like less touristy. And so with that being said, like, yes, I feel safe whenever I'm going to a resort in Mexico. That point from, the airport to the resort, I think because I can read all the languages or read all the signs, and because I, can communicate with the driver, like, I feel okay. Um, but I think, like I said, it's just like when you ask someone, do they feel safe there? I think you have to take into consideration all the things that make them, like all their components. And so that's just a little bit of like my background. And so I felt safe there. I've gone to Mexico though plenty of times. So, and I think the only time I've never felt safe in Mexico is when I was in my family's like hometown in Mexico, right across the border, and there was like a shootout at a grocery store that I had just been at. And so I got the notification on my phone, and I remember, like, I was just, like, so scared because I just missed it by, like, a little bit. But that is the only time I can remember ever being, like, physically scared in Mexico. So, take all of what I said when you're thinking about whether or not you should go, whether or not you'll feel safe. Obviously, always have good, like, travel, like, I don't know, travel IQ, like if you're gonna go travel somewhere, like, I definitely would say, like, don't be, like, super flashy. That's, like, with anywhere, though. I feel like even if I went to, like, Canada or I went to France, like, I would never wanna be, like, super flashy. I wanna make sure I'm not being, like, really rude to people. Wanna make sure I'm just, like, constantly aware of my surroundings. So I think just, like, take all of that and do all that, and you'll be fine. Okay, and then one of the other questions I got was surrounding the lounge chairs and the beach, and how in one video someone saw it was only lounge chairs really far back from the beach underneath a bunch of trees and shade. While that is there is a bunch of lounge chairs further back from the beach under a bunch of palm trees. There are chairs on the beach where, like, if you go into the water, you can see your chair, right? And those do get filled up really quickly. So I would say if you are really pressed for going to the beach, I would go early and reserve your spot. They do have umbrellas, but not every single chair has like an umbrella next to it. So when we first went, I remember I didn't see any chairs with an umbrella. And there definitely weren't two in a row. So like we had to just like end up sharing one. And on the days where it was more windy, there was like a red flag up and there really wasn't people at the beach. That's when we got a chair right at the beach, right on top of it under an umbrella. So just beware of that. But the beach is absolutely gorgeous. I was so happy with the beach. The water was so pretty. There was a little bit of seaweed, but not as bad as I've seen in other resorts. Like I think honestly, like I would go again because of how happy I was with the beach. The other question was, did you use like the hotel transfer? So I booked the hotel transfer service through Southwest Vacations. On there, when I was booking for the resort in general and the flight, they ask if you want to book, like, they call it the excursion service. And that is just taking you from the airport to the hotel, and then on the return service, hotel back to the airport. And yes, once again, I felt safe, but take into consideration all of the different aspects. Like, I wasn't traveling by myself. It was me and another female. I speak Spanish, I read Spanish, and so I strongly just suggest, like, take all that into account and just always use, like, good travel safety measures. Like, just be aware of your surroundings, don't be flashy. Like, I think there's so many places that we could go more as travelers, but there's so many times where, like, someone messed it up and was maybe like overly flashy, and then something happened to them, and then it scares us for the rest of time, right? So just be like very conscious of that when you're traveling. So far, that's all of the Q&A that I got surrounding this resort and my experience. I loved it. Like I said, I would go back. It was a really, really wonderful experience. And it just made me further excited for the wedding I'm going to have in Cancun next year. So I hope you all get a chance to go to this resort. If not this resort, just go to Cancun. It's so beautiful there. The price, in my opinion, is usually right. So go check it out. And if you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach back out to me. Drop a comment, send a nice email, and please like and subscribe so you can get more of this content if you do like it. So thank you.